Here are 5 reasons why the EFF has been successful over the last 10 years. Number 1, brand. The EFF has been able to establish a very clear brand colors, brand recognition, the overalls, the red beret. If you see those things, you know it's EFF. If you see red, you know it's EFF. Having a distinct brand is something that's very powerful, and they've been able to do that. They've been able to own a color, own a look, and that's powerful. Number 2, clear leadership. It's very important in an organization that everybody knows, especially a political organization, who's the leader, who's the deputy leader, who are the other various leaders. If you have factionalism or you have leadership disputes, you have what happened to COPE, where Shilowa was fighting on this side, Lekota was on the other side, and it just tore the organization apart. Factionalism is also what has been really undermining the ANC internally, because you've had Cyril versus Zuma, and that has really divided the organization, divided provinces, and that's something that doesn't help an organization grow. So that's number 2. Number 3, they've been able to come up with a very clear message. The message of the EFF and its 7 cardinal pillars is something that appeals to a significant number of South Africans. It doesn't have to appeal to everybody for it to be effective for their political growth. And they've been able to carve out a left narrative and a left message that does appeal to a broad base of South Africans. And sometimes there are tensions in their ideological rhetoric, but this message is beyond rhetoric. Politics is beyond ideology. Politics is not just about ideology. If you have a clear message, people will gravitate to that. And that's one thing that they've been able to do quite successfully. Number 4, drama. The EFF has been able to create drama in parliament, in society, and use that to get media attention, use that to get public attention effectively around their politics. That's something that you cannot undermine. That's something that you cannot take away from them. They've been able to use drama to their benefit. I mean, if you think about Dubabaka Duduzane, if you think about all of the disruptions in parliament, if you think about pay back the money, all of those things are part of political, messaging, tactics, strategy, and they have been very useful for the EFF. Number 5, something that is not taken as seriously but does really matter: organizational logistics and discipline. Organizational logistics and discipline. The EFF actually said that people who couldn't bring buses to its rally at FNB's 10-year celebration wouldn't be allowed to go into the celebration. And people are like, what's going on? Why is the EFF like this? Dictatorship, Kabila, Idi Amin, all of those kind of things. I think what those people miss in that analysis, which I think is simplistic and reductionist, is that the EFF has really been focused on getting numbers at universities, in townships, in rural areas, and they are very strict about that. At some point, they kicked people out of leadership who couldn't establish branches, and they said every leader has to have a branch. And now they've said every leader has to be able to deliver numbers to the rally. That's something that's very, very important for a political organization to be able to master, getting out the vote. That's what they call it in the American political system. So that organizational discipline, regardless of what you think about it, is going to be a critical part of their success, because they can get people to show up to marches, to rallies, to events, etc. That's critical, especially in an election year, to know that your organizational machinery can reach townships, can reach rural areas, it can reach urban areas, it can reach universities and actually produce numbers. Those 5 things are the reason why the EFF has been successful. They are the reason why I think the EFF next year will be close to 15% in terms of their performance. Save this video, we'll have a conversation then. But I really think they'll be able to significantly cross the 2 million mark. They already were at 1.8 million in 2019 in terms of votes that they received. I think that they'll be able to cross the 2 million mark because of those 5 factors. I mean, you may underestimate this organizational discipline thing, but I think it matters. Julius Malema was asked about this by Sophie Mokoena, and this is what he had to say.
Why ban your members from attending the rally? Was there no other option to deal with a situation where your public representatives couldn't deliver what you requested in terms of organizing transport, for members, which is understandable because some of them are very poor from the countryside. But taking this route, was it a good move?
Absolutely. You South Africans are so used to lazy public representatives that when they are being held accountable, you are all getting shocked. It should be a normal thing that when people are given a mandate, they must execute it to the best of their ability. And if they fail to do so, they must come and explain. Tell me, Sophie, a member of parliament in Cape Town does not organize buses for his constituency, but a councillor of Malamulele, where she comes from, organized buses for his own constituency. What logic is that? So in the EFF, we're training, it's a training ground. And when you are a member of parliament, you are responsible for your battalion, your constituency. You must deliver it. So we must get used to a situation where public representatives are held accountable. But I'm not shocked because you have all come to accept mediocrity and laziness, and the EFF is not going to accept that. You can say whatever you want to say. Anyone who belongs to the EFF will be held accountable if they don't execute their mandate, irrespective of the position they occupy in the EFF. In the EFF, we train proper public representatives who are going to grow to know that if you don't execute the mandate, there will be consequence management. We're not used to consequence.